I'm operating on a verbal agreement. Right now, it's a pretty good verbal agreement because I've got a 2-year track record that I can go into like a small claims court. There's no way I can't go against John Deere, Michigan Wind in a court of law, but in a small claims court I can. I think it would cost me something like, it was going to cost me, I believe it was $30 to file a suit for, I think it was an $857 claim. The worst part of the whole thing is, we're in a soft zone township. I went to my township board, and their response to me was that I'm on my own against John Deere and Michigan Wind LLC. And I'll tell you what, it's not a good feeling when you're hanging out there alone. My recommendation to this planning board, or any planning board anywhere in Michigan or the United States, a lot of them put in the complaint resolution to put it in the hands of the developer. I would recommend definitely don't do that. I think if there's a complaint or anything, that's got to be handled in Riga Township, any place in Huron County or the state of Michigan, or again, like I say, any place in the United States. You know, we have to have some protection. If they bring these in, and if a mistake is made, and mistakes can be made, the people have to have somebody to go to. I'm hanging out there, you know, just flopping in the breeze because I can't take John Deere and Michigan Wind to court. I can't afford it. So anyway, as I was saying, on the issue of hanging out there alone and verbal agreements and stuff, the way I got paid for the second year of my TV reception, I would pay the dish bill for the year, and then at the end of the year, the gentleman would reimburse me. Second year, he didn't want to reimburse me. I just stopped to get his address. I stopped up and I got the papers for small claims court. And that must have been the scaring issue for him because that night I was going to run for county commissioner up in Huron County there for my district, the 4 townships. And I had to go over to that action anyway. I was going to file the papers at that time and then go to the, I guess I better not say which party, but I was going to go up to party headquarters and sign up and run for county commissioner. Well, that evening, I think he must have felt that that my claim was legitimate and that I was going to collect 2 small claims. I was not at home that night. He did stop by and give my wife a check for it. What I'm here is to share with you is, some of the issues you're going to run into, and it's going to be setback issues, getting these things clustered in too close to homes. I'm not anti-wind by any means, but we got to quit doing this in Michigan. We got to quit clustering these. And as you heard, I believe in the minutes, there's problems here with these wind parks in Michigan. Those 12 or 13 people, I've met with a lot of them. A lot of them asked their county commissioners and different planning and zoning representatives to come to their homes and visit. And the county commissioners and stuff won't even come to our homes and visit. I asked my own district county commissioner to come to my house. In fact, I told him the one time, I says, there's nights when the noise is so bad you wouldn't believe it. I says, I'll take my car, come to your house, pick you up, bring you over to my house, let you sit in my lawn for a while, and I'll drive you back home. And that didn't work either. So anyway, there's a lot of issues to look at, and I guess the one thing I really want to share with you the most is when I went to Lake Township, I commended them. They took a moratorium, and their zoning and planning board did a year's work. They did a lot of work coming up with their draft ordinance. It was a little bit too strict for the developers. The fighting and stuff started up there in Lake Township, and I'm not sure. I haven't been going to the Paris Township meetings, but Lake Township got to the point where at different times they had to have sheriff's deputies called in to basically stand guard at a township meeting. I mean, that's how bad it got going, the pro-wind people against the anti-wind people, and they would get really rowdy, and their supervisor and different county officials were worried that, something could break out, so they called in sheriff's deputies. I've seen this just tear the insides out of townships. And, you know, I would hope and pray that wouldn't happen down here. It's happened up in Huron County. And you've heard about the complaints because there's lawsuits up there in Bingham Township Park. I visited with a lot of those people. I sat out on their porches. I've sat in their lawns and stuff. They've got legitimate complaints. The one lady, she's a school teacher up in Ubley there. There's another gentleman that's a business owner. I sat in the gentleman's yard that's retired. He's got his whole, they basically got their whole life tied up into their property and their home. You know, and just a cross-section of people. And, you know, who knows how lawsuit's going to turn out. Maybe they're going to lose a lawsuit. I have no idea. But the way this is tearing townships apart, I guess other than, you know, me feeling bad for the situation I got into, that would be the biggest thing, is the way this tears townships apart. It's not pleasant to see. It's not good to see up in my county, and I wouldn't want to see it happen here or anywhere else. I've got a gentleman that I've been neighbors with. I've been out on my property for about 35 years. The gentleman's on the township board. I was visiting with him in his yard. Never had any problems with him in 30-some years. And the man tells me that I better drop this, I'll use the word cow manure, and go to Saudi Arabia and get a job. You know, after being neighbors with the guy on good terms for 30-some years. I'll tell you what, it hurts. And, you know, I wouldn't want to see stuff like that happen anymore, but it's happening up in Huron County, and I hope that you come up with a good ordinance down here. Huron County, we started out with 1,000 feet, and I believe 50 dBA. After the number of complaints that did come out of the Bingham Township Farm, or industrial wind park, they have changed their ordinance. And that's another thing. A lot of townships were, you know, calling up to Huron County and stuff and copying their ordinance at 1,000 feet and 50 dBA. And I was thinking to myself, you know, where are they setting now? Are they setting with 1,000 feet and 50 dBA? Because Huron County has now gone to 1,320 feet, and I believe they lowered the dBA to 45. So a lot of these people that maybe didn't do their homework or were going to save on the homework, they're setting with a bad ordinance, and unless they're going to change theirs, I don't know. Do we have any time for me to field any questions, or no?
Well, let's open it up to the commission and see if anybody
Sure,
has...
however you want to do it, Rich.
The only question I had, did you bring this ordinance with you so that we could have a copy?
Of Oliver Township?
We've got that already, Gary.
Yeah, I don't think there's a separate ordinance in Oliver Township. I believe they did what they call an overlay. Doug Doomery from John Deere is here. He could probably say if I'm correct. Theirs was not a separate draft ordinance, but I believe more of an overlay where they just changed certain paragraphs of the ordinance to allow. Am I correct on that, Doug? As far as you know? It's an overlay, yes.
It's not a separate ordinance.
They changed paragraphs in there to allow for this.
When you went to it'd be John Deere, I guess in your case, the other one, Ubley, was Noble and then John Deere, with complaints about sound. I mean, what did they comply with the ordinance?
That's another sticky situation because of my township being self-zoned. The Bingham Township Farm, Michigan Wind 1, I believe it's called. Theirs is a county-zoned township. The county allowed John Deere to bring in a sound company to do testing in the Bingham Township Farm. I approached Doug Doomery. I'm not sure if Steve Julin and them were there. I talked to him about the noise situation at my place. He pretty much assured me that when the sound people were in the area, they would test at my property, and I just talked to him earlier tonight. And somehow